Today is Shiva Tammuz, the 17th day of Tammuz, and it marks the day on which the walls of Yerushalayim were breached, ultimately leading to the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. And yet, in Sefer Yirmiyahu, we read something a little bit different. He writes, "B'chodesh ha'revi'i b'tish'a lechodesh nivka ha'ir," that on the ninth day of the fourth month, the city was breached. The ninth of Tammuz? Wasn't it the 17th of Tammuz? It's this question that the Gemara and Tanit and Daf Chavchet would bet picks up on, and answers that yes, during the second Beit Hamikdash, when the Romans broke through the walls, it was on the 17th. But in the time of the first Beit Hamikdash, when the Babylonians destroyed the Beit Hamikdash, the walls were breached on the ninth, which seems to solve the problem. But then comes the Yerushalmi, and it throws us a bit of a curveball. The Yerushalmi says that the walls of Yerushalayim were breached on the 17th, even in the time of the first Beit HaMikdash, that there was never a ninth of Tammuz. Explains the Korban HaEdah in his commentary in the Yerushalmi that because of the chaos, the hunger, and the pain, the people lost track of the date. We have calendars, we have watches, we have iPhones, but back then, in the horror of a siege, people weren't keeping an accurate count. And Yirmiyahu, writing in Ruach HaKodesh, knew that the actual date that the walls were breached in the first Beit HaMikdash was the 17th, but he wrote the ninth. To stand with the people in their confusion and pain, it's a remarkable expression of empathy on behalf of the Jewish people. And yet Rabbi Yaakov Shur adds yet another layer. He says there's two psukim in Yirmiyahu. One says outright that the city was breached on the ninth. The other says that the famine hit its peak on the ninth, and then the breach followed. So maybe the people confused the day that the food ran out with the day the wall fell. Understandable, yes. And yet our fast is on the 17th. Why? It's because the Shulchan Aruch says that ultimately the destruction of the second Beit HaMikdash was even more severe, and therefore we remember the 17th. And the Ramban, quoted by the Magen Avraham, says something even more. He said the rabbis didn't want to make two fast days in 1 month. It'd be too much for people to be able to have to fast both on the ninth and the 17th. He says, and yet, Balei Nefesh, those with lofty souls, would fast on both. At which point we need to look for a moment at the Malbim, who suggests a daring idea that maybe it wasn't the Babylonians who broke in. Maybe it was the starving Jews who broke out, that the city was broken, yes, but it was our own desperation that made the breach. And symbolically, that's true too. It wasn't the Babylonians who destroyed Jerusalem. Symbolically, it was our sins. The enemies were just the instruments of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This time of year reminds us that walls don't just fall from without. They don't just collapse because of enemies, but rather they collapse because when we are weak. And therefore, this day reminds us to strengthen ourselves, our faith, and our fortitude, to remember always that at times of trouble, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will protect us. But we need to do our part. We need to build upon our integrity, our unity, our love for one another. We need to ensure that what's inside the walls, inside the Jewish nation, remains strong so that it'll never be breached.